Blessed are the peacemakers. I want us to hang out here just a minute. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. You know, we live in a world that loves pouring gasoline on volatile situations. We live in a world where people love to stir. Whether you look overseas, and I can name countries to you like Nicaragua and other countries that seem to be exploding, or even in our own nation where you look on social media, and sometimes I look at that and it really looks like people just want to pour gasoline on a volatile situation. Blessed is the peacemaker. Christians ought to be fire extinguishers. We ought to be wanting to put an extinguisher out where there is fire. We are known by being peacemakers. We have a family here that's going to Turkey, and sometimes when we hear the word Muslim or Islam, the only thing you can think of is 9/11 and other terrorist acts. What we like to do is lump all Muslims and all people who are of the Islamic faith into some big conglomerate. And then you see people and you realize that they're human beings who Christ died for. Peacemakers. Brandon and Samantha are peacemakers in Turkey. Bringing the peace of God and wanting to be an example of people who can reach out across cultures and be peacemakers. The Bible tells us that when we are peacemakers, we are called the children of God. The other day when I was looking at this scripture, it really stunned me, and I had to stop and think, that is how we are identified. That when people see us doing that, they say, that is God-like. That reflects God. That's God. We'll be called the children, peacemakers. Blessed are those, because you'll be called the children of God. That reflects who He is. That reflects His heart. That reflects His desire. When you begin to make peace, whether it is in society or whether it's in your own family, God begins to bless that. So many of our families need peace in our communities and around this area. There's not very often that a week goes by that I don't hear of some type of turmoil and something going on in a family that is destroying it. And we need to be peacemakers. If that's your family, don't pour gasoline on the fire. Bring an extinguisher and start being a peacemaker in your family. Bring peace to that situation. And can I tell you quite honestly, sometimes family is the easiest one to want to pour fire into the situation on because we're so familiar with each other. I'm not going to meddling just yet, but man, families, it can dynamics, and kids, if your parents aren't at peace, you be a peacemaker. God can use you in that situation. Blessed when you are persecuted for righteousness. I don't know what the future holds for us. We're so blessed to live in a nation. We're so fortunate in many ways to live in a nation where we aren't persecuted for our beliefs. That may change. There are people who live in nations like that. The nation that I love and we served, India, is going through a time, and I've mentioned it to you before, where Christians are being persecuted more and more. It's become harder and harder. Blessed are you when you're persecuted and falsely say all kind of evil things against you because of me.